Welcome back, guys, to another Honda Insight video. I got a check engine light and I'm going to try to fix it. So when I read the code, it is a P0118, and everything that I can see online says that points to a coolant temperature sensor. Now, my coolant is at the right level. I bled it recently, so I made sure I got all the bubbles out of it the proper way. I know the last video I did with the radiator was not the right way. There's a special way to do it. Made sure all the air was out of the system, reset the battery. Still having issues with it popping up every time I turn it off and turn it back on, it pops up. So first thing I'm gonna do is take off the engine cover. So 10 millimeter, 10 millimeter, and 10 millimeter. All right, now that I have the cover off, I just remembered that I also have some coil packs. All three of the coil packs I was gonna replace while I was in here. I guess over time from the catalytic converter, it kind of burns these out. So I decided, hey, it's probably been 200,000+ miles on this thing, so I'm gonna take those out. Easiest way to do that is I'm gonna take off this nut here and take this out so I can get this bracket out of the way and then unplug each one of these. And once you can get this harness plate thing up out of the way, you can see that each one of these are attached. And that's all you gotta do is just unplug each one of these. So once I do that, then I'll get each one of these unplugged, and the last thing that's keeping it in is just a little 10 millimeter bolt on the side. Then the whole thing pops out, easy as can be. And once you take each one of those 10 millimeter bolts out and put them off to the side, you can go ahead, easily pop these up out of the way and replace them with the new ones. The ones that I got are right down here. Decent reviews, decently cheap, so it wasn't that big of a deal to replace them. If you guys want to take a look at these, I will put these down in the description below like I do all my videos. They're pretty. All right, all three of those have been replaced. So now we need to get to the temperature sensor. So I've got my oil cap right there. And if we look to the side, you've got a few different plugs down here. And it's probably the most hidden one. It is that one right there. That middle third one right down there at the bottom. Kind of hard to see from here, but that's the one we need to get down to. And yeah, it is a pain in the butt. So basically we just have to make as much room as possible. So I took my hose, my hot air intake that goes from around here and is routed on the side, a little more room out of the way there so I can get something down here without smacking into it. And let's see what else I can get out of the way. Maybe I can reach it because it is right down there. All right, I'm slowly getting a little bit more access. So as you can see, I got the throttle cable and I took that off the 10 mil just so I can move the cable out of the way. And now what I just did is I took your O2 sensor connector right here. You just press that button and it'll come right out of this. Now that I have this out of the way, this bracket is still a little tall. So there's a 10 millimeter bolt that holds that bracket in place. Can't really see it too well, but it's right down there. Let's see if I can zoom in on it. Yep, it's kind of hard to see, but it is right there. I'm gonna take that bolt off, which means this bracket will be able to move. And once I get that bracket to move, I should be able to gain access to it right there. All right, so I also took out the coil pack over there just so I could spin my wrench a little bit more, but I came down and I took that out. You'll be able to see it right over here. I got that taken out. I gotta make sure I put that in back the right same way. And once I did, I could finally reach down there, and here's the plug right here. All you have to do, it's really nice. Right at the very end, you've got the little pressure thing. I just got a pair of pliers down there, grabbed it, pulled it out, and there it is. Now we just have to pull out the actual plug, which is right down there that we just disconnected with. All right, so the sensor is actually a 19 millimeter. It's a big chunky boy. So you have to wiggle this down in here and then finally get it in place. And then you can start getting it out from there. I already cracked it loose, but you got to get a 19 down in there. And it's really good idea to take this coil out, because I would have done the same thing. Get your wrench on here, and this gives you way more room. All right, so I quickly popped in the new one in there. Hopefully didn't introduce any bubbles, but I'll go ahead and go through the burping process once everything's back together. Basically the same process, just in reverse. Pop that back in. I'm gonna pop all my plugs back in. Cars are gonna drive by because I don't have a garage, and we'll get to that burping. All right, so here's the procedure. you're gonna take off the cap that comes right on here. That's pretty easy, just a little clamp that's on there, and then you got that little rubber stopper that's up there. So you're gonna take that off. I'm gonna put a hose on there. I've got this one connected to my funnel right here. It's really the best thing I could do. I don't have anything that fits directly on there and a funnel. And then right next to it, you can see right there, you're gonna pop that open just a little bit, and you can see you're gonna fill it up until you see the coolant. You can see it a lot better now. You see the coolant. Once it starts overflowing, tighten it up, because that means everything has been filled up to there. Of course, the first thing, like if you did a total drain, go to your radiator, fill it up, and then do this. So now that is completely topped off. I'm gonna tighten that up, and then I'm gonna turn the engine on. There we go. Now you can watch the bubbles rise and fall as it burps itself. Once it's been running for a while, you don't see any more bubbles. Go ahead and hit the throttle. Once you hit the throttle a few times and there's no more bubbles, then you're done. And once all the bubbles stop coming up, you can go ahead and swap out, turn your engine off and swap out the hose for the little plug really quick, and everything should be done now. No more bubbles in your system, and you've got your temperature control unit fixed. Now, hopefully this does the job. If not, the only thing left really that I can think of is my thermostat, and that's not something I want to get into.